First contact in the frozen wastes. The icy winds howled across the desolate Arctic landscape, whipping snow and ice crystals into a frenzy that would have blinded any unprotected eyes. Yet, nestled within this frozen hellscape stood a testament to human perseverance: the Polaris Research Station. Its reinforced walls and dome-shaped structures defied the elements, a beacon of warmth and life in an otherwise inhospitable environment. Inside the station's main control room, Dr. Elena Volkov peered intently at the radar screen, her brow furrowed in concentration. The blip that had caught her attention was unlike anything she'd seen before, too fast and too high to be a conventional aircraft, yet exhibiting a flight pattern that seemed deliberate and controlled. "Hey, Marcus," she called out to her colleague, "come take a look at this. I think we might have something unusual on our hands." Dr. Marcus Chen, the station's lead physicist, hurried over, his eyes widening as he observed the anomalous signal. "That's not one of ours," he muttered, his voice a mix of excitement and apprehension. "And it's definitely not Russian or Chinese. What do you think it could be?" Before Elena could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red warning lights flashed, casting an eerie glow across the faces of the startled scientists. The intercom crackled to life with the voice of Captain Sarah Hawkins, the station's military liaison. "Attention all personnel. We have an unidentified object on rapid approach. This is not a drill. Report to your designated safety zones immediately." Elena and Marcus exchanged worried glances before sprinting into action. They quickly secured their equipment and made their way to the reinforced bunker deep within the station's core. As they hurried through the corridors, they could hear the muffled sounds of their colleagues doing the same, a mix of urgent whispers and hurried footsteps. Once inside the bunker, Captain Hawkins addressed the assembled team. Her face was stern, but her voice remained steady, a calming influence in the face of the unknown. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a situation unlike anything we've encountered before. The object we've detected appears to be of extraterrestrial origin." A collective gasp rippled through the room. Extraterrestrial. The word hung in the air, laden with implications that would forever change the course of human history. "Our job now," Hawkins continued, "is to remain calm and follow first contact protocols. We don't know their intentions, but we must be prepared for any eventuality." As if on cue, the entire station shuddered, accompanied by a deep, resonant hum that seemed to vibrate through their very bones. The alien craft had landed. Hours passed in tense silence as the humans waited, monitoring their instruments for any sign of activity from the visitors. Elena found herself poring over the limited data they had collected, her mind racing with possibilities. What kind of beings could traverse the vast distances of space? And why, of all places, had they chosen to make first contact here, in one of the most inhospitable regions on Earth? Her musings were interrupted by a startling announcement from one of the security officers monitoring the external cameras. "Movement detected outside. They're coming out of their ship." All eyes turned to the large screen displaying the camera feed. Through the swirling snow, they could make out several tall, slender figures emerging from a sleek, silvery craft that seemed to shimmer against the stark white backdrop. The aliens moved with a fluid grace that belied the harsh conditions, their bodies protected by what appeared to be form-fitting suits that gleamed with an otherworldly iridescence. Captain Hawkins straightened her uniform, her expression resolute. "Dr. Volkov, Dr. Chen, you're with me. The rest of you, maintain your positions and be ready for anything." Elena felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration as she donned her heavy Arctic gear. She had dreamed of this moment her entire life, the chance to make first contact with an alien species. Yet, as she pulled on her gloves and adjusted her goggles, she couldn't help but wonder if they were walking into danger. The airlock hissed as it cycled, and then they were out in the biting cold. The wind tore at their clothes, threatening to knock them off balance, but they pressed forward. Elena marveled at how the aliens seemed unaffected by the extreme weather, moving with ease through the deep snow. As the two groups drew closer, Elena could make out more details of the extraterrestrial visitors. They stood nearly 8 feet tall, with elongated limbs and large, almond-shaped eyes that seemed to glow with an inner light. Their heads were hairless and slightly elongated, giving them an almost regal appearance. The lead alien raised a hand in what seemed to be a gesture of greeting. Captain Hawkins mirrored the action, then slowly removed her goggles and face mask, revealing her features to the visitors. Elena and Marcus followed suit, their breath immediately frosting in the frigid air. For a long moment, there was silence, broken only by the howling of the wind. Then, to their astonishment, one of the aliens spoke. The words were unlike any language Elena had ever heard, a melodic series of clicks and whistles that seemed to cut through the storm with surprising clarity. A small device on the alien's wrist glowed, and suddenly, English words emerged, slightly stilted but understandable. "We are the Zarkei. We come in peace, seeking to understand." Captain Hawkins took a step forward, her voice clear and controlled despite the surreal nature of the situation. "I am Captain Sarah Hawkins of Earth. We welcome you in peace and offer our friendship." The alien tilted its head, its large eyes blinking slowly. "Your world, it is harsh, unforgiving. Yet you thrive here. How is this possible?" Elena couldn't help but smile at the alien's bewilderment. To these advanced beings, capable of crossing the stars, the idea of surviving in such an environment must have seemed incomprehensible. She stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overriding her apprehension. "We adapt," she said simply. "Humans have learned to survive in every environment our world has to offer, from the hottest deserts to the coldest poles. This station is a testament to our ingenuity and determination." The aliens conferred among themselves, their melodic language creating an almost musical backdrop to the howling wind. When they turned back to the humans, there was a new glimmer in their eyes, something akin to respect, or perhaps fascination. "We have traveled far, seen many worlds," the lead alien said. "But never have we encountered beings like you. We wish to learn, to understand your adaptability." Captain Hawkins nodded, a cautious smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "We would be honored to share our knowledge. Perhaps we could continue this conversation somewhere warmer." As they made their way back to the station, Elena's mind was awhirl with questions and possibilities. The arrival of the Zarkei would change everything: humanity's place in the universe, their understanding of science and technology, perhaps even their very concept of what it meant to be human. But as she watched the aliens move through the Arctic storm with evident discomfort, she realized that humanity had something unique to offer as well. Their resilience, their ability to adapt and thrive in the face of adversity. These were traits that even advanced spacefaring civilizations found remarkable. Inside the warmth of the station, as humans and aliens began their first tentative exchanges, Elena felt a surge of pride. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever wonders or dangers the universe held, she knew that humanity would face them with the same spirit that had allowed them to conquer the harshest environments of their home world. The first step into a larger galaxy had been taken, and it had happened not in the halls of power or the gleaming cities of Earth, but here in the frozen wastes of the Arctic. As the blizzard raged outside, a new chapter in human history was being written, one that would forever change the course of two civilizations. The Blizzard Challenge. The Polaris Research Station, once a quiet outpost of scientific inquiry, had transformed overnight into the epicenter of humanity's first extraterrestrial encounter. News of the Zarkei's arrival spread like wildfire across the globe, igniting a fervor of excitement, fear, and speculation. But for Dr. Elena Volkov and her team, the reality of their situation was far more immediate and complex than the world could imagine. As dawn broke on the third day since first contact, Elena found herself in the station's main conference room, surrounded by an unlikely mix of human scientists, military personnel, and their alien visitors. The atmosphere was charged with a nervous energy, a blend of awe and apprehension that seemed to crackle in the air like static electricity. "We've received reports of an incoming megastorm," Captain Sarah Hawkins announced, her face grim as she addressed the assembled group. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before. Our meteorologists are calling it a polar vortex on steroids." One of the Zarkai, a tall, willowy being named Zinra, tilted their head in curiosity. "Explain this megastorm. How does it differ from the constant turmoil we have observed in your atmosphere?" Dr. Marcus Chen stepped forward, pulling up a holographic display of swirling weather patterns. "Imagine the storm that greeted you upon your arrival, but magnified tenfold. Winds exceeding 200 miles per hour, temperatures plummeting to -100 degrees Fahrenheit, and snowfall so dense it could bury this entire station in a matter of hours." The aliens exchanged glances, their luminous eyes widening in what Elena had come to recognize as an expression of alarm. "Such conditions, they are not survivable," Zinra stated, a hint of concern coloring their usually melodic voice. Elena felt a surge of pride as she stepped forward. "For most species, you'd be right, but we've prepared for this. The Polaris station was built to withstand the worst Mother Nature could throw at us. Or so we thought." Captain Hawkins nodded grimly. "The station will hold, but we've just received orders from Central Command. They want us to use this opportunity to test our new Arctic survival suits in the field." A murmur of disbelief rippled through the human contingent. The Arctic survival suits, or ARS as they were jokingly called, were the latest in extreme weather gear. Powered by miniature fusion reactors and equipped with advanced nanomaterials, they promised to allow humans to survive in conditions that would kill an unprotected person in seconds. "You cannot be serious," Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the station's chief medical officer, protested. "Those suits are still in the prototype phase. We haven't even completed all the safety trials." "We don't have a choice," Hawkins replied firmly. "Central Command sees this as a unique opportunity, not only to test the suits, but to demonstrate human resilience to our guests." She gestured towards the Zarkai, who were watching the exchange with rapt attention. Elena's mind raced. The scientist in her balked at the risks, but another part of her, the part that had dreamed of pushing the boundaries of human experience, thrilled at the challenge. "I'll do it," she heard herself say, surprising even herself with her conviction. All eyes turned to her, a mix of shock, admiration, and concern on the faces of her colleagues. The Zarkai, however, seemed intrigued. "You would willingly subject yourself to such peril?" Zinra asked, their voice a mix of disbelief and growing respect. Elena nodded, her resolve strengthening. "It's what we do. We push boundaries, we take risks, we adapt. It's how we've survived on this world, and it's how we'll make our way among the stars." Over the next few hours, a plan took shape. Elena, along with Captain Hawkins and 2 other volunteers, Dr. Rajesh Patel, a climatologist, and Lieutenant Maria Santos, a survival expert, would venture out into the megastorm. Their mission: to reach a remote weather station 10 kilometers from the main base and retrieve crucial data that could help predict future megastorms. As Elena donned the sleek, form-fitting Arctic survival suit, she couldn't help but marvel at the technology. The suit hugged her body like a second skin, its surface shimmering with an array of microscopic sensors and adaptive materials. As she activated the power systems, she felt a warm tingle spread across her body, the suit coming to life. "Remember," Dr. Tanaka cautioned as she ran final checks on Elena's suit, "the ARS will regulate your body temperature and protect you from the wind, but it's not invincible. Push it too hard and it could fail. And out there, failure means death." Elena nodded solemnly, the weight of the mission settling on her shoulders. As the team made their final preparations, she noticed the Zarkai observing with a mixture of curiosity and what she could only describe as nervous anticipation. "We will monitor your progress," Zinra informed them, holding up a small crystalline device. "This technology allows us to track your biometrics and environmental conditions. We wish you success and safe return." The sincerity in the alien's voice touched Elena. In that moment, she realized that this mission was about more than just testing technology or impressing their extraterrestrial visitors. It was about forging a connection, about showing the Zarkey the indomitable spirit that had allowed humanity to thrive in even the harshest conditions. As the outer airlock doors slid open, the team was immediately buffeted by winds that could have easily swept an unprotected person off their feet. Snow and ice crystals swirled around them in a blinding maelstrom, the world beyond the station reduced to a howling void of white. "Remember your training," Captain Hawkins shouted over the comm system built into their suits. "Stay together, watch your step, and for God's sake, don't let your guard down for a second." They set out into the storm, each step a battle against the raging elements. Elena marveled at the effectiveness of the ass, feeling only a slight chill despite the brutally cold temperatures. The suit's heads-up display provided a wealth of information. Current temperature, -87 degrees Fahrenheit and dropping. Wind speed, 176 miles per hour and gusting higher. And their current heading. As they pushed further from the safety of the station, the true ferocity of the megastorm became apparent. Massive ice formations loomed out of the whiteout, their shapes twisted and alien in the howling wind. More than once, the team had to detour around crevices that had opened up in the ice, their depths lost in swirling darkness. Hours passed, each moment a grueling test of endurance and will. Elena's muscles screamed with exertion, the suit pushing her body to its limits as they fought against the relentless storm. But with each step, each obstacle overcome, she felt a growing sense of exhilaration. They were doing the impossible, venturing where no human, perhaps no sentient being, had gone before. Suddenly, Lieutenant Santos' voice crackled over the comm. "Contact. I've got a visual on the weather station." Through the swirling snow, Elena could just make out the outline of a squat, cylindrical structure. The weather station. They had made it. As they approached, however, Elena's suit's sensors began to flash warnings. The temperature was continuing to drop at an alarming rate, and the wind speeds were approaching the theoretical limits of what even the ass could withstand. "We need to hurry," Captain Hawkins ordered, her voice tense. "Petal, get that data. Volkov, Santos, secure the station. We've got about 10 minutes before this storm reaches critical levels." They worked with frantic efficiency, their training kicking in despite the extreme conditions. Dr. Patel interfaced with the weather station's systems, downloading terabytes of crucial climatological data. Elena and Santos worked to reinforce the station's structural supports, ensuring it would survive the worst of the megastorm. Just as they finished their tasks, a deafening roar filled the air. Elena looked up to see a wall of ice and snow, hundreds of feet high, bearing down on them. "Polar cyclone," Patel shouted in panic. "We need to get out of here now." But as they turned to run, Elena realized with horror that their path back to the research station was cut off. The cyclone had changed direction, placing them directly in its path. In that moment, as the team huddled together in the face of seemingly certain doom, Elena had an idea. A crazy, potentially suicidal idea, but one born of the same human ingenuity that had brought them this far. "The weather station," she shouted over the howling wind. "If we can get inside and secure the hatches, we might be able to ride out the cyclone." There was a moment of hesitation, then Captain Hawkins nodded sharply. "Do it." With seconds to spare, they wrenched open the station's heavy doors and piled inside. The structure groaned and shuddered as the full force of the polar cyclone struck, threatening to tear it from its very foundations. For hours they huddled in the darkness of the weather station, listening to the fury of the storm outside. Elena found herself holding her breath, silently urging the structure to hold together, to withstand nature's onslaught for just a little longer. And then gradually the howling began to subside, the shaking lessened, and an eerie silence fell. When they finally emerged, blinking, into the aftermath of the megastorm, they were greeted by a landscape transformed. Mountains of ice had been moved, new chasms carved into the frozen earth, And there, in the distance, the welcoming lights of the Polaris research station shone like a beacon. As they made their triumphant return, battered but alive, Elena caught sight of the Zarkai waiting anxiously at the airlock. The aliens' expressions were a mix of disbelief, awe, and something else, a newfound respect. "You have survived the unsurvivable," Zenra said as they helped the team inside. We have much to learn from your species." Elena smiled, exhausted but exhilarated. "That's just another day at the Office for Humanity," she quipped. "Now, who's up for some hot cocoa?" As laughter filled the airlock, human and alien alike, Elena knew that they had done more than just survive a storm. They had taken the first steps towards a true understanding between their species, forged in the crucible of Earth's harshest environment. The message was clear. Humanity was ready for the challenges of the cosmos. Whatever the universe might throw at them, they would adapt, survive, and thrive. The Blizzard Challenge was just the beginning. Secrets of adaptation, the human genome revolution. The aftermath of the megastorm brought an uneasy calm to the Polaris research station. As the Arctic sun peeked over the horizon, bathing the transformed landscape in an ethereal glow, Dr. Elena Volkov found herself in an unlikely place, the station's advanced genetics lab, surrounded by curious Zarkai. "You're saying that your ability to survive such extreme conditions is encoded in these microscopic structures?" Zenra asked, their luminous eyes fixed on the holographic display of human DNA spinning slowly above the lab bench. Elena nodded, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Exactly. But it's not just our DNA that allows us to adapt, it's our ability to manipulate it." She tapped a few commands on her tablet, and the hologram zoomed in on a specific section of the genome. "This is what we call the Arctic Adaptation Cluster, or AAC. It's a group of genes that we've identified as crucial for survival in extreme cold." Dr. Rajesh Patel, still sporting a few bruises from their harrowing adventure in the megastorm, chimed in. "But here's where it gets really interesting. We've developed a way to temporarily activate these genes in any human, regardless of their genetic background." The Zarkai exchanged glances, their antenna-like appendages quivering with excitement. "You can rewrite your own genetic code at will," one of them asked, their voice a mix of awe and disbelief. "Not exactly rewrite," Elena corrected. "Think of it more like turning up the volume on certain traits that are already there. We call it adaptive genetic resonance, or AGR." She pulled up another hologram, this one showing a sleek handheld device that looked like a cross between a smartphone and a medical tricorder. "This is the AGR activator. It uses a combination of targeted electromagnetic pulses and nanoscale gene editors to temporarily boost the expression of specific adaptive genes." The implications were staggering. With this technology, humans could theoretically adapt to any environment in a matter of hours, rather than the thousands of years it would take through natural evolution. Zinra's eyes narrowed, a gesture Elena had come to recognize as deep concentration. This AGR, could it be applied to non-human species? To us, perhaps? Before Elena could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red warning lights flashed, and the voice of Captain Sarah Hawkins crackled over the intercom. "Attention all personnel and guests. We have a Code Omega situation. This is not a drill. Report to the Central Command Center immediately." Elena's heart raced as she led the Zarkai through the station's corridors. Code Omega was reserved for only the direst of circumstances, global catastrophes, imminent alien invasions, or worse. As they entered the command center, Elena gasped. The main screen showed a terrifying sight, a massive asteroid, easily the size of Manhattan, hurtling towards Earth. Impact simulations painted a grim picture. If it hit, the resulting climate change would plunge the planet into a new ice age. "We've got less than 72 hours before impact," Captain Hawkins announced grimly. "Every space agency on Earth is scrambling to find a solution," but she trailed off, the weight of impending doom heavy in her voice. Suddenly, Zinra stepped forward, their usually melodic voice tight with urgency. "We may have a solution. Our ship's gravity drive, it could potentially deflect the asteroid. But," they hesitated, mandibles clicking nervously, "we lack the necessary power source." All eyes turned to the alien. "What kind of power source?" Elena asked, a spark of hope igniting in her chest. "We require a stable supply of a substance you call antimatter," Zinla replied. "Our long journey depleted our reserves." The room fell silent. Antimatter was one of the most elusive and dangerous substances in the universe. Producing even a tiny amount required massive particle accelerators and energy inputs that dwarfed the output of entire power plants. Then Dr. Yuki Tanaka's eyes widened. "Wait a minute," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Project Prometheus." Captain Hawkins shot her a warning look, but Tanaka pressed on. "It's a top-secret antimatter production facility, built right here, beneath the Arctic ice." "That's classified information, Doctor," Hawkins snapped, but Elena could see the conflict in her eyes. The fate of the world hung in the balance. "With all due respect, Captain," Elena interjected, "I think the classification of a secret base is the least of our worries right now." After a tense moment, Hawkins nodded. "You're right, but there's a problem. The facility is located 5,000 feet below the ice, in an environment even more extreme than the surface. No human has ever survived a journey to those depths." Elena's mind raced, pieces falling into place. "Maybe not a normal human," she said slowly, "but what about one enhanced by AGR?" The room erupted into a flurry of activity. As scientists and aliens worked feverishly to integrate the AGR technology with deep-diving gear, Elena found herself at the center of a plan so audacious it bordered on insanity. She would dive into the heart of the Arctic, her genes enhanced to withstand crushing pressures and temperatures that would freeze the blood in her veins. Her mission: to retrieve the antimatter that could power the alien ship and save humanity from extinction. As Elena donned the experimental deep-dive suit, its surface shimmering with the latest in human and Zarkei technology, she felt the weight of not just her species, but of two civilizations resting on her shoulders. "The AGR is calibrated to activate your deep-sea adaptation genes," Dr. Patel explained as he made final adjustments. "You'll be able to withstand the pressure, but the cold, it's going to be unlike anything you've ever experienced." Elena nodded, her resolve firm. "Whatever it takes," she said, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her gut. As the dive chamber sealed around her, Elena caught a final glimpse of her team, humans and aliens working side by side, united in their desperate bid to save Earth. Then, with a hiss of hydraulics, she began her descent into the unknown depths of the Arctic. The journey down was a sensory onslaught. Even with the AGR enhancing her body's natural adaptations, Elena felt the crushing weight of the ice above her. The darkness was absolute, broken only by the eerie bioluminescence of deep-sea creatures that had never seen the light of day. As she approached the hidden base, her suit's sensors began to pick up strange energy readings. The antimatter facility loomed before her, a testament to human ingenuity and the lengths they would go to push the boundaries of science. But something was wrong. The facility's outer airlock was sealed, its systems unresponsive. Elena's heart raced as she realized the truth. The base had been abandoned, its precious cargo left behind in the rush to evacuate. With time running out and the fate of the world hanging in the balance, Elena made a decision that would push the limits of human adaptation even further. She would have to breach the facility manually, exposing herself to the full fury of the deep Arctic environment. As she overrode the airlock's safety protocols, a small part of her mind marveled at the situation. Here she was, 5,000 feet below the Arctic ice, about to step into conditions that should kill her instantly, all to save humanity from an asteroid that an alien ship would deflect using antimatter. If someone had told her this would be her life a week ago, she would have laughed in their face. The airlock hissed open, and Elena stepped into the unknown, her enhanced genes, the only thing standing between her and certain death. As the frigid water rushed in, she felt her body changing, adapting in ways she never thought possible. In that moment, suspended between life and death, human and something more, Elena realized that this was humanity's true strength. Not just their ability to survive, but their willingness to leap into the unknown, to push beyond their limits in the name of something greater than themselves. As she made her way through the abandoned facility, searching for the antimatter containment unit, Elena knew that whatever the outcome, this day would mark a new chapter in human history. A chapter where the secrets of adaptation would unlock not just survival, but a future among the stars. With antimatter in hand and a desperate race against time ahead, Elena began her ascent, carrying with her the key to humanity's survival and the dawn of a new era of human evolution. Quantum entanglement, the cosmic web of destiny. The Polaris research station hummed with an energy unlike anything it had ever experienced before. Humans and Zarkai worked side by side, their efforts a symphony of advanced technology and desperate hope. At the center of it all stood Dr. Elena Volkov, her body still adjusting from the extreme genetic modifications that had allowed her to retrieve the antimatter from the depths of the Arctic. "The antimatter is stable," she reported, her voice carrying a new resonance, a side effect of her altered physiology. "But we have a new problem." Captain Sarah Hawkins frowned, her weathered face etched with concern. "What now?" "We're already racing against the clock to save the planet from an asteroid impact." Elena pulled up a holographic display, its swirling patterns depicting a complex web of energy signatures spanning the solar system. "While I was in the deep-sea facility, I discovered something extraordinary. The antimatter wasn't just being stored there, it was part of a massive quantum entanglement experiment." The Zarkai scientist, Zinra, shitted excitedly. "Quantum entanglement on a solar system scale. The implications are staggering." "Exactly," Elena nodded. "But here's the catch. The antimatter we need to power your ship's gravity drive. It's quantumly entangled with particles scattered throughout the solar system. If we use it without understanding the consequences, we could trigger a chain reaction that could tear apart the fabric of space-time itself." The room fell silent, the weight of this new revelation settling heavily on everyone present. They had gone from trying to save the Earth to potentially risking the entire solar system. Suddenly, an alarm blared, its urgent tone cutting through the tension. Lieutenant Maria Santos, her face pale, looked up from her console. "We've got incoming. Multiple objects entering the solar system at speeds we've never recorded before." The main screen flickered to life, showing a swarm of sleek, predatory-looking vessels hurtling towards Earth. Their design was completely alien, unlike anything the Zarkai had ever encountered. "By the cosmic void," Zinra whispered, their luminous eyes wide with terror. "It's the void harvest. They must have detected the quantum disturbance." "The what?" Captain Hawkins demanded, her military training kicking in as she assessed the new threat. Zinra's voice trembled as they explained. "They are the stuff of nightmares, Captain. A race of beings that exist partially in our dimension and partially in the quantum realm. They feed on disruptions in the fabric of space-time, like the one we're about to create." Elena's mind raced, piecing together the cosmic puzzle before them. "So we're damned if we do, damned if we don't," she muttered. "If we use the antimatter to deflect the asteroid, we risk tearing apart the solar system and attracting these void harvesters. If we do nothing, the asteroid impact will plunge Earth into a new ice age." Dr. Rajesh Patel, who had been quietly working on a simulation, suddenly perked up. "Wait a minute. What if we could use the quantum entanglement to our advantage?" All eyes turned to him as he excitedly explained his theory. "The antimatter is entangled with particles throughout the solar system, right? What if we could use that connection to create a massive, solar system-wide gravity lens?" Elena's eyes widened as she grasped the implications. A gravity lens that could not only deflect the asteroid, but also disrupt the void harvester's trans-dimensional approach. The next few hours were a blur of frantic activity. Human and Zarkai scientists worked tirelessly, their minds melding in an unprecedented fusion of two vastly different scientific paradigms. Elena, her enhanced physiology allowing her to process information at an accelerated rate, found herself at the heart of the operation. As the plan took shape, it became clear that they would need to distribute quantum-entangled particles at key points throughout the solar system. The Zarkai ship, guided by Elena's enhanced intuition and the human's knowledge of the solar system, would have to make a series of precisely calculated jumps, seeding the particles in a complex geometric pattern. "It's like creating a cosmic web," Elena explained to the assembled team. "Each point will act as a node in a solar system-wide quantum computer, allowing us to manipulate gravity on a scale never before attempted." Captain Hawkins, her face grim but determined, nodded. "It's our only shot, but who's going to pilot the ship? The jumps will have to be perfect, and the radiation levels at some of these points would kill an unprotected human in seconds." Elena stepped forward, her genetically enhanced body humming with untapped potential. "I'll do it. The AGR modifications should allow me to withstand the radiation, and my connection to the quantum web might give us the edge we need." As Elena prepared to embark on the most dangerous mission of her life, she felt a strange calm settle over her. She was no longer just Dr. Elena Volkov, Arctic researcher. She had become something more, a bridge between humanity and the cosmos, her very DNA a key to unlocking the universe's deepest secrets. The Zarkai ship hummed to life around her, its alien technology interfacing seamlessly with her enhanced neural patterns. As they lifted off from the icy surface of Earth, Elena caught a final glimpse of her home planet, a fragile blue marble hanging in the void, unaware of the cosmic drama unfolding around it. What followed was a harrowing journey through the solar system, a high-stakes game of cosmic hopscotch. At each jump point, Elena guided the ship with preternatural precision, her mind linked to the growing quantum web. Mercury's searing heat, Venus's crushing atmosphere, the radiation-soaked moons of Jupiter. Each presented its own unique challenges, pushing her modified body to its limits. All the while, the twin threats loomed. The asteroid, now visible to the naked eye, growing larger with each passing hour, and behind it, the sinister shapes of the void harvesters, their trans-dimensional ships leaving trails of disrupted space-time in their wake. As they approached the final jump point in the rings of Saturn, Elena felt the quantum web come alive around her. The entangled particles sang in her mind, a cosmic symphony of interconnected possibilities. "It's time," she announced, her voice steady despite the enormous pressure, initiating the gravity lens. With a thought, Elena activated the solar system-wide quantum computer. The effect was immediate and awe-inspiring. Space itself seemed to bend and flex, the fabric of reality rippling like a pond disturbed by a thrown stone. The asteroid, caught in the gravitational lens, began to curve away from its collision course with Earth. But the void harvesters, their trans-dimensional forms more vulnerable to the spacetime distortions, found themselves trapped. Their ships, once sleek and predatory, twisted and contorted as they were pulled into a newly formed quantum singularity. As the immediate threats were neutralized, Elena became aware of something else, a vast cosmic consciousness brushing against her mind. The quantum web had connected her to something greater, a universe-spanning network of entangled particles that held the secrets of creation itself. In that moment, suspended between the rings of Saturn, her body and mind pushed far beyond normal human limits, Elena Volkov glimpsed the true nature of reality. She saw the interconnectedness of all things, the delicate balance of cosmic forces that shaped the universe, and she realized that humanity's journey was just beginning. The secrets of adaptation had unlocked not just their survival, but their destiny among the stars. As the Zarkai ship began its journey back to Earth, Elena knew that nothing would ever be the same. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged not just survivors, but cosmic players. The universe, with all its wonders and terrors, was waiting for them. And they would face it together, their alliance with the Zarkei just the first step in a grand cosmic adventure. For in unlocking the secrets of adaptation, they had discovered the greatest truth of all, that the key to survival lay not in conquering the universe, but in learning to dance with its infinite complexity. The quantum entanglement had woven their destiny into the very fabric of the cosmos, and the next chapter of human history would be written among the stars. Cosmic consciousness, the singularity nexus. The return journey to Earth was anything but triumphant. As the Zarkei ship pierced through the atmosphere, Dr. Elena Volkov's enhanced senses picked up a cacophony of electromagnetic chatter. The world below was in chaos, teetering on the brink of societal collapse in the wake of the near-apocalyptic events. Brace for impact, Captain Sarah Hawkins' voice crackled over the comms. The Polaris station is gone. We're setting down in what's left of New York City. As they descended through layers of smog and debris, Elena's heart sank. The once gleaming metropolis was now a landscape of twisted metal and crumbling concrete. The quantum gravity lens had saved Earth from total destruction, but the side effects of their desperate gambit were evident everywhere. The ship touched down in Central Park, now an eerie wasteland of withered trees and ashen grass. As the hatch opened, Elena stepped out, her genetically enhanced body immediately adapting to the toxic atmosphere. By the cosmic void, Zinra whispered, their bioluminescent patterns pulsing with distress. What have we done? Elena's response was cut short by a deafening roar. A massive holographic projection flickered to life above the ruined city's skyline, depicting a face that billions would recognize, the United Earth President. Citizens of Earth and our Zarkei allies, the President's voice boomed, tinged with both hope and trepidation. Today, we stand at a crossroads of cosmic proportions. The quantum entanglement event has not only saved us from annihilation, but has fundamentally altered the fabric of our reality. Elena felt a tingle at the base of her skull, her enhanced neural pathways picking up on something beyond normal human perception. The quantum web they had created was still active, pulsing with latent energy and untapped potential. The President continued, Dr. Elena Volkov's heroic actions have unlocked a power beyond our wildest imaginations. The Singularity Nexus, as our scientists are calling it, offers humanity a chance to transcend our physical limitations and join a galactic community beyond our comprehension. Murmurs rippled through the gathered crowd of survivors. Elena exchanged a glance with Captain Hawkins, whose expression mirrored her own mix of awe and apprehension. But this gift comes with a price, the President warned. The quantum entanglement has linked every human mind on the planet. Our thoughts, our memories, our very consciousness now exist as part of a collective neural network that spans the globe. As if on cue, Elena felt a surge of foreign emotions and memories flood her mind. She gasped, staggering under the psychic onslaught. Around her, others clutched their heads, overwhelmed by the sudden influx of shared consciousness. The Singularity Nexus offers us a chance to upload our collective consciousness into the quantum realm, the President explained, her voice taking on an almost messianic fervor. We can transcend our physical forms and explore the cosmos as beings of pure energy and thought. But the choice must be unanimous. Every human on Earth must agree to take this leap into the unknown. The implications were staggering. Humanity stood on the brink of evolutionary transcendence, poised to become something beyond flesh and blood. But the price was the ultimate sacrifice, the abandonment of their physical forms and the world they had known. As the global debate raged through the newly formed psychic network, Elena found herself at the eye of the storm. Her enhanced mind, already connected to the quantum web, served as a bridge between humanity's present and its potential future. Billions of voices clamored in her head, a cacophony of fear, hope, anger, and wonder. Through the din, she sensed the Zarkei's growing unease. Their alien minds were cut off from the human psychic network, observers to a transformation that could scarcely comprehend. Elena, Zinra's voice cut through her thoughts. You must make a choice. The quantum entanglement is unstable. If humanity doesn't transcend soon, the psychic feedback could tear apart your minds and our ship's drive. With a start, Elena realized the truth. The Zarkai vessel, still linked to the solar system-wide quantum web, was acting as an anchor for the singularity nexus. If it fled, the connection would be severed, potentially driving humanity mad in the process. Time seemed to stretch as Elena grappled with the weight of the decision before her. In her mind's eye, she saw myriad potential futures branching out like the roots of a cosmic tree. In one, humanity transcended, becoming a vast intelligence that spanned the quantum realm, exploring realities beyond imagination. In another, they refused the leap, remaining bound to their physical forms, but united by a global psychic network that ushered in an unprecedented era of peace and cooperation. And in yet another, the strain of the choice tore them apart, leading to a fractured world of psychic tribes, each seeking to mold reality to their will. As the possibilities swirled through her consciousness, Elena became aware of something else, a presence vast and ancient, brushing against the edges of human awareness. The quantum web had connected them to something greater, a cosmic intelligence that had watched civilizations rise and fall across the eons. With sudden clarity, Elena understood. The singularity nexus wasn't just a chance for human transcendence. It was an invitation to join a galactic community of ascended beings, to add humanity's unique voice to a cosmic chorus of consciousness. But the choice had to be theirs. Humanity had to decide its own fate. Drawing upon reserves of strength she didn't know she possessed, Elena opened her mind fully to the global psychic network. She became a conduit, sharing her cosmic vision with every human on the planet. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, humanity stood united in thought and purpose. Through Elena, they glimpsed the infinite possibilities that lay before them, the wonders and terrors of a universe far stranger and more beautiful than they had ever imagined. And then, in a surge of collective will that resonated through the quantum web, they made their choice. The world around Elena began to shimmer and fade. She felt her physical form becoming less substantial, her consciousness expanding to fill the quantum realm. The last thing she saw with her human eyes was the awed expression on Zinra's alien face. "Remember us," she whispered, her voice already taking on an ethereal quality. "And know that the stars will never be the same." In a flash of quantum energy, humanity transcended. Billions of minds merged into a vast, collective intelligence that stretched across the solar system and beyond. They became beings of pure thought and energy, free to explore the cosmos in ways their physical forms never could. The Earth, now devoid of human life, but teeming with the potential for new evolution, was left in the care of the Zarkai, a final gift from a species that had chosen to become something more. As the Zarkai ship lifted off from the empty planet, carrying the last witnesses to humanity's ultimate adaptation, a new chapter in cosmic history began. The human quantum consciousness, now free to roam the universe, set out to explore realities beyond imagination. They had unlocked the true secrets of adaptation, transcending not just harsh climates or cosmic threats, but the very limits of physical existence. In doing so, they had become not just survivors, but shapers of the cosmic narrative. And somewhere, in the vast expanse of the quantum realm, Dr. Elena Volkov's consciousness smiled. Their journey was just beginning, and the universe would never be the same.